Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks again for joining me on another live stream where, we just kind of talk about photography and catch up on what's new. And if I can answer any questions about Olympus cameras or photography in general, I'm always happy to help, do best I can. Let's see who's here. We have Richard Gardner already jinxing my stream. For some reason, the go live button didn't work today. So I reboot the computer and the go live wouldn't anyway. It's always something though. Something. I don't know why things just can't go smoothly. Let's see, what else we got? We have Jonas, Serge, Arthur. Good to see you, Terry. Terry Lovejoy from Australia. Awesome. I know it's late for you guys over there, right? It's probably like 11 o'clock at night. I do have a stream on Tuesday mornings for me, which is closer to like 9 p.m. your time on Tuesdays. So anyhow, let's see. I'm starting earlier on Sundays now than my normal time. I'm just trying to keep this sleep schedule because the like I said, there's a local photography club that I recently joined with that they get up really early on the weekends to go shoot. like 6:30 in the morning. So I have to get up at like 5 and leave the door by 5:30ish so I can get to wherever they're going. And then of course yesterday got canceled because of the rain, I guess, mostly, but the place that normally does early morning shoots, canceled it. So anyway, let's see. And that's with David Crook. Sometimes he comes in on the streams here. And Andreas and John Sovley, good to see you. Richard Gardner, good morning. And you're in Canada, so it's wow, it could be really early or about the same time. I don't know where in Canada. Ottawa. I don't know what side of the Canada that is, time zone. Oh, Jeff Painter, John Leach, Mike Ham, good morning. Manuel, and thought to be fun. Richard Stoddard and Roman, always good to see you. Thanks for joining me again today. If this is anyone's first time here, just let me know. I'm always curious to see new people, where they're from, and maybe, put in what camera you use. Mike has a question. He says, I'm thinking about getting the new 100 to 400 lens for wildlife. Would you get this or wait for the 150 to 400? I know the latter is way more expensive, but got any ideas? Well, if money's no object, get the latter. I think it's an f4 and it has a built-in teleconverter. So it's going to be more versatile in terms of zoom range, right? It's supposed to go up to, I forget what the teleconverter inside is, but with the 100 to 400, you'd have to buy the teleconverter separate, which is still ultimately probably going to cost half as much as the Pro lens. But that said, it depends how serious you are about long distance type, telephoto type photography. You're very serious about it, really enjoy it, especially if you're a professional and make money from it, definitely wait. Get the Pro version. If you're just an enthusiast, then I would probably just get the 100 to 400 now and just start enjoying it. Go out and shoot, some photography, and if you already have a teleconverter in hand, all the better. The non-pro lenses will never be quite as sharp as the pro lenses, right? So that's the main distinguish is how much more do you want to pay for that extra tiny bit of sharpness that you'll get out of a pro lens. For me, it would be very rare for me to want to have a pro lens over, say, what I can get either kit lens or stock lens. I shoot with the kit lenses a lot, and I'm perfectly content with it. Even my professional work, I shoot with kit lenses. Because my work doesn't require super high res. And, not that I don't enjoy shooting high res shot mode and stuff like that, but I do that mostly because of the night photography. It reduces noise. But anyhow, yeah, I'd wait if money were no object and you're really, because I know how it is. Sometimes, just not having the best will bug you, right? and you're willing to spend a little more to know that you have the best. Uh, and I've kind of, uh, I do that on some products, that don't cost a fortune like camera gear. But for camera gear and computers and things, I'm content with getting 90% there for 50% of the price, right? But that's just me. Oh, so Otto's same time zone. Okay, Richard, that's good to know. Um, I don't know if I'll remember that, but we'll see. And who can guess my backdrop today? What this is from? I would be really surprised if like 10 people didn't jump in right away and say what it is. But uh, whoever knows, just type in the chat, because this is one of my favorite TV shows. Yeah, Mike says, "Oh, thank you, Mike, for the super chat. I really appreciate that." Mike is Mike is a consistent contributor to the channel here, and I'm so grateful. But he says, "Thanks. I was told once if you buy the best, you only cry once. I use this for tools too." Yeah, then I would wait. I would wait because yeah, it's gonna be the best. By how much, is remains to be seen, but I can't imagine it wouldn't be, a lot better, especially at the telephoto range end, on the long end. That, Mike, that reminds me of a video I saw by David Thorpe when he was talking about the Pen F, some similar quote to that. Price you forget, but quality you'll never forget, something like that. But David Thorpe, he puts out a video like once a year or something. I mean, very infrequently. And I really enjoy his videos. It's mostly monologue, right? He just sort of voiceovers the gear and shows some pictures. But he's very down to earth, at least in terms of his reviews and things. They're not clinical, technical, scientific testing, right? They're just very organic, and he just goes out and shoots with it. And he does a really excellent job in his videos, if you like that kind of style. Yep, Soft to Be Fun, Chuck, they know, IT Crowd, right? One of the best shows ever. Yeah, the favorite episode was the internet. Yeah, that's one of my favorites, with the I'm from Iran. And then the fight at the end, that was great. And then Roman says, yes, if you buy cheap, you cry more often every week's after the crap breaks. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about theming today's live stream and just crap that you buy and never use. Like, God, I got so much stuff. It's just painful. It's painful how much junk I've accumulated in the last 7 or 8 years, however long I've been doing photography. When I had only I had like 3 pocket cameras from like the late 2000s that I used to use. And then in this short time, I've accumulated so much stuff. It's insane. And it just, I mean, some stuff breaks and I replace it with other stuff, which is fine. But then there's just, like, I bought a gimbal, I bought a stabilizer. Because of the IBIS and the cameras now, they're so good, I just never use them. My chat column's disabled. Oh, thank you. Let me fix that. If I'm not paying attention, there's always some technical difficulty, right? I can fix that, though, pretty easily. That should do it. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. I like to put the chat window in the stream itself, because a lot of times people are watching this on TV where they can see the chat stream and it overlays sometimes, so there's a little bit of redundancy. But then when you play these back later, because there's a lot of people that watch these later, you don't always get the chat section on the side, right? And yeah, thank you. Thank you, David. That's what David said. You'll enjoy the quality long after you forget the price. Yeah. Roman says, after Corona, I will come to visit. Sort of everything out and sell it for you. I don't. I can sell the stuff if I wanted to. I just don't want to. I look at it and I think about when I bought it and the things I did with it when I had it. But like, yeah, there is some stuff that I just can't. I can't. I don't use and can't, but still can't get rid of. Like, what is it? My Fujifilm X-T30. I hardly used it, and it's still got some value to it, right? Because it's a relatively current model. It's only a year old, but I can't get rid of it. I don't know why. It's just painful to buy something and then trade it in. Like, I would trade it into my local camera store and get like pennies on the dollar. Oh, and switch to live chat. Oh, okay. Actually, on this stream, I cannot switch top chat versus live chat. The way it cut and paste into the stream, it only cut and paste the top chat. And really, the only difference between top chat and live chat is the top chat blocks spam, right? Or tries to anyway. That's really the only difference. I've never noticed any difference in terms of which chats show versus which ones do not, if they're all legitimate. The only ones that get blocked are typically the any kind of spam, and that's pretty rare on my streams. I've been very lucky not to get hit by spammers and trolls and things like that. But I don't get that many views anyway to begin with, so let's see. But Bob, on the other stream I do for live editing, I can switch between top and live because that one is actually a different kind of. I do it differently. I do a screen capture where I can control things, but on the stream software, I can't control top versus live. And Roman says the X30 is a great camera. Yeah, it's the X-T30, not the X30. Because there was a Fujifilm X30, which was a little smaller. It was like the X100. Oh, good morning, music. You're not that late. I was late myself, 5 or 10 minutes as always, you know, technical issues. So you're not too late, but I'm glad you made it. But yeah, there was some other things that happened. I can never remember. I feel like I should just stream every single day so that when things happen, I can just talk about them because it's so early now, I can't remember. I was doing some video work this week and it didn't turn out too well. So I'm gonna try and start using my Olympus cameras for the video. I was using the little DJI Osmo and I liked it because it has its own gimbal, right? And I can double click and everything levels, so no matter what, I don't have to level the freaking tripod, which is a pain. I can just double click on the DJI and then it's all level and then I can pan around and stuff. But I got into a situation where the light was very low. Half of the stupid fluorescent bulbs were burned out and the light was low and the images were so grainy. And the white balance was all over the place because they had blue walls with fluorescent lighting. And then there was window lighting coming in at the same time. It was a mess. It was just a mess. Video is hard, and I watch some very high-end videographers in the same industry I'm in real estate, and they really don't do any better job, which I was surprised because I've only recently started doing video in real estate work, and they have the same problems I do. Yeah, they were using a little better gear. They were using true handheld gimbal and probably a full frame camera. Whereas I was using a little DJI Osmo, right? The little 2/3 sensor, whatever that is. Not even my Olympus camera. But it's like one of those things. It wasn't, I was about 90% there to what they were doing. They were able to just do a couple other trick shots that I can't do with the DJI quite as easily. But in terms of white balancing, matching, and stabilization, everything else, I know they're using like that DJI Ronin or whatever. I don't know who makes it, but that Ronin gimbal with the double handles, and they got their Canon gear hooked up to it with their wide angle, 7mm, 7-14 L glass. I mean, they got like $5,000 in gear versus I got a little $300 DJI Pocket Osmo, and I'm 90% there. The only challenge I had was this one particular office. The fluorescent lighting was burned out, and I was struggling with the noise, so I had to do some denoise, and it softened the image up a lot. I was not happy with the end result. Like, I would not put that in my portfolio. And the client paid for it and they didn't say anything. They were content with it because it's a little less than 2-minute video, but at the same time, I feel like I should go back out there and do it over, because I wasn't happy with the result, and I don't want somebody to go to my, any of my client sites and look at that and say, yeah, we don't want to hire this guy. You know what I mean? Because of that one video. That might be the only one they watch and not bother to see all the other ones. Well, I only have a few now at this point, but anyhow, John Leach is saying, my worst photographic purchase was the ZigView angle finder, which I bought when I had a D80. I got put in a drawer just after 1 week and never used it. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, a ZigView angle finder. I do know what a Nikon D80 is because I have one, which uses the older CCD sensor, right? Which is kind of cool. Good morning, Barana. And Tony B says, I'm no pro, but thinking pro gear makes you a pro is just wishful thinking. Yes, professional spender is what it does. So it does make you professional that way. The difference is a real professional can deduct it off their taxes, right? So they're paying half the price, or whatever your tax rate is. Yeah, sharpness isn't everything. It's really the last thing for me as a professional is the sharpness of the image, because everything gets downsized to 2 megapixels. So I just have to, focus is everything. If you don't nail focus, yeah, that's a problem. But once you've nailed focus, the actual sharpness of the image is not critical at all for me. I don't know about portrait work and all other types of photography, but what I do, it's not critical. So I can take a kit lens out on most of my jobs and I'm fine. That said, what did I use? I used my 8mm fisheye lens, which is technically a pro lens. And then I used the 12-32 Panasonic kit lens for some of the other shots. And Music says, my 2 favorite channels is robtrek and Derek Force. Thank you. Going through all the videos, even for cameras I don't have. Wow. That's a great compliment. Thank you. Content and composition win out every time. Yes. There's always some technical issues though you have to deal with. Like I said, you have to nail focus, you have to get the white balance right, you have to get the exposure right in terms of, if you're going to get noise, because sometimes it's unavoidable, right? You need to adjust the shot so the noise isn't quite as visible. It's good I don't know what a ZigView is, otherwise it'd be in my drawer. That's funny. I gotta look it up now. I'm curious. I'm gonna put photo ZigView. $200. Hold on. Let me show you guys what this is. What is this thing? It's got an adapter, interval shutter. It says here various photo. Look at this. Oh, look at this. It plugs into your viewfinder. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let me, oh, I can't zoom in. Remote shutter release, interval release, B and T shutter, digital viewfinder. $279 when it came out. And what are they asking for it now? $200. Wow. Hey man, you should sell it. That's a couple $100 there. That's cool. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Mike, you have a friend who's a pro, can shoot disposable cameras and still take gorgeous photos. I know. You know who did a really interesting stream was or video was someone I haven't seen in a while is Noe. He keeps changing the name. He's changed the name of his channel, but his name is Noe, and he took a bunch of students out with disposable cameras, and they went out and just took pictures as one of the projects, and some really good pictures came out. And he identified this one person who had a really good eye for photography, more so than everyone else. Like, not that anyone can't get there, but one person kind of had a little head start. The result was terrible, huh, John? Wow. Yeah, a lot of pros. They can, like I said, the higher your skill set in photography, the less the gear matters, right? You can overcome really any photographic challenge with just about any gear. Any competent gear, if you have a competent photographer, they can overcome most issues. It's just like this. I'm doing this video work now with my DJI Osmo, and it's, I've done 3 jobs with it. So I have 3. Yeah, I've done 4. All of them have been fine, but the lighting's been good, right? So I bought this I bought this light. It came in yesterday. I'm thinking to solve my challenge, right? I bought this LED lighting, because they sell LED video lighting. It's like hundreds of dollars for that crap. And I'm like, well, it's not crap. Let me rephrase that. It's a couple $300 for lighting, for like video lighting that has a high CRI. So I spent like 3 hours yesterday shopping for this light. This light was like $25, but it's 150 watt LED. And the problem, and it has a CRI of 90 or better, so they claim. But like I said, for the work I'm doing, the CRI is not quite as important. So I practiced with this a little bit last night in my house, and it increased the light in my room by at least 1 stop, maybe almost 2 stops, depending on how I angled these, because you can angle these like this. So I can adjust it. But anyhow, that's what I mean. Once you kind of get a feel for the gear and develop your skill set. I still need to develop my skill set in video work, right? Because even if you're using a full frame camera, for example, if lighting is a problem, it's a problem. It doesn't matter what camera you're using. So this is where I need to build up my skill set, is in lighting sets or scenes better for video work. So this is going to be awkward though, because it's a 6500K. So it's very cool lighting, which I can adjust for. But then the other lighting in the room is all over the place. But that's always a problem. Anyway. Yeah, it's not a ceiling fan. Um, Nature with Music. Hello. It's okay. I'm starting earlier on Sundays. I'm gonna try and keep this schedule going forward. So I posted the link early yesterday, relatively early than I normally do, so that you got some heads up. I'm sorry to keep changing the schedule. I mean, I kind of prefer the earlier morning ones, at least for me now. So I have the rest of the day to do stuff. Um, yeah, nature knows, right? Lighting is always an issue. So I'm gonna try with this cheap lighting and practice a little bit and see if I can get better results. Like I said, I'm just testing now. But what I like about this is, I can put this on a light stand and get this within a few inches or within about a foot of the ceiling. And then it spreads the light out across the ceiling really nice, so there's no harsh shadows. I was going to use it for the stream today and tell you guys about it, but then I was thinking I wouldn't be able to show you the light. And then I didn't get the white balance set before I could, I didn't want to delay the stream any later than I always do. uh, but yeah, 25 bucks instead of like, yeah, the $300 ones, a lot of them, they have their own battery packs options. Well, it's closer to 400 because they don't come with batteries. You have to buy batteries. So it's like $400 for real video lighting. And yeah, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot better for workflow because I don't have to look for an outlet to plug something in. But if I can, I'm not making that much on the video that I can start buying hardcore video lighting. And it's never going to be bright enough for most of the spaces I do. A lot of the spaces I do, they're offices, right? So the floor plan is open. So you got like 1,000 square feet of just open space. And, unless you set up tons of lighting, you're not going to overcome, the thousands of watts of natural lighting or artificial lighting that's already there. Have I ever thought about doing a group photo walk? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I go to these, you can join me on the local photography photo club that I go to. They canceled this weekend, I think, because of rain. But yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I'm really looking forward to the next one. They try to plan something every week. So I'm looking forward to next week and the week after and going forward. And just going out with me, with a couple of people is fine. My schedule's so random, so unless I plan for something specifically, like the photo club does, I don't know if I could really arrange something like that. My time changes make you more alert. I live in Maryland, Richard. Near Andrews Air Force Base. My zip code's 20748, if that helps. That's exactly where I live. It's no secret, right? Amazon knows where I live. Although I should be a little more careful. Actually, I was recently hacked, which is a problem. I have to do. That's going to be a pain in the ass. Excuse me. That's going to be a pain to fix. Oh, I just can't. I can't believe it. Anyhow, if you do a Ghoul walk, I'll join. I'm in Arlington. A Ghoul walk. I don't know what that is. Group walk. Oh, all right. Typo. Gotcha. Yeah, let me show you the group I go with on Saturdays or sometimes Sundays. Let me see. I have it bookmarked here. It's this one here. It's run by David Crooks. Like I said, he's probably out on a photo walk today. I should check my email and see if I missed something. Because I had to cancel yesterday. They might have rescheduled for today, but I stream on Sundays, so it's on Meetup. I'll put the link in. Oops. Let me go this window. Oh, Nature says he uses a single LED lighting unit for close-up, particularly good for fungi shots. I have several. Yeah, I use like a little LED flashlight sometimes for close-ups. I prefer using flash. Um, but yeah, little pocket LED flashlight from the dollar store works, or a camping light. Wow, you are very far from the beach. Yes. Yeah, I don't go to the beach much. I love the beach. I don't like the water, going in the water, but I love the beach. Is there any way to set and lock infinity focus? I I don't know if you can lock it, but you can go into manual focus and just turn the focus ring to infinity. So unless you bump the focus ring again, um, it'll stay where you left it. But there's not a focus lock that I'm aware of. Um, Maybe you should have a subject topic for images to edit. Yeah, people have suggested that where, like I should have a theme um, for the photo editing live stream. I'll ask everybody in the thing. I got mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, yeah, it would make things a little more interesting. Like we could see all the different types of the same thing, right? But then that's the other thing is like, it's the same thing over and over for 2 hours. I kind of like the spontaneity of every image being a little different and then switching gears. But maybe I can do it like every other live stream, do a certain theme. Maybe. Not every stream, because I like the dynamics of different images. But then, yeah, maybe a couple times a month I can do it that way. Because I do editing now like 3 times a week. And Tony says, do you ever use the keystone feature in your camera for your pro work? I do not. Because most of the time I'm using the fisheye lens. So I do all the correction and post-processing. And I would do that even with a rectilinear lens because the keystoning feature only works for JPEGs and I have to shoot RAW when I do my pro work. So yeah, keystoning is never an option for me in professional work. And I've tried it a couple times just for fun, right? Not for paid work. And it's fine. I don't use it that much, but sometimes. The thing with keystoning is it gives you a little flexibility in angling the camera, but don't do it too much because things will start to look weird even with keystoning. So you can only use it in very small amounts before it starts to look weird even though the lines are straight. Yeah, once a month, yeah, that makes sense. John, maybe a theme once a month. I could do that. Let's see, September's coming around the corner. Maybe I'll set something up for mid-September and just have a theme. And then Roman says, I think the variety of pictures is interesting. And for example, I don't have a macro lens, so I couldn't send a macro picture if the subject was that. Yeah. Well, I could I wouldn't say let's do macros this week. I would just say let's do pictures of bugs this week. And then that will immediately draw in some macro shots, but they don't have to be, right? They could be a picture of a butterfly using a telephoto lens. Um, Yeah, and extension tubes are a cheap way to do macro. That's what I do. That's why I haven't bought a macro lens. I don't do macro enough to warrant buying one. And then I have extension tubes, which I'm fine with. That's my problem maybe with photography is I'm not a perfectionist. I just need to get 90% there. I don't like to make things so difficult that I don't want to do it. Like, there's some things in photography I've only done once or twice because it was so hard to get good results that I said I'm not doing this anymore. Like I did some shots of the moon for astrophotography and uh where I had that video about how to shoot the moon, but those were simple shots, right? But I got one shot that's like super clear and you can see every crater, but that was so hard. It was like it took so much time and I'm like, oh, it just gets to the point where it's not fun anymore. For paid work, yeah, I rack my brains to try to solve problems in photography, and I don't mind spending the time. Like I spent for a little 2-minute video that I screwed up, I spent probably almost 40 hours after I delivered the product trying to figure out what can I do to make this better. And that's why I bought this lighting and stuff like that. But for my point is for my personal enthusiast, go out and have fun type photography. Um, if I can get 90% there, I'm good. And then just have fun with it, right? And then if I really want to get the best, then yeah, I might start investing in things. And that's kind of the point of like this 12 to 40 Pro lens I bought that I'm using right now. I hardly use it. It's like one of those purchases that worked great one time and I thought I would enjoy it a long time. But the size and weight of it just keeps me from using it too much. And I just take it, I just take my kit lenses with me. Even on my pro work, my paid work, I use my kit lenses. I don't even want to use this 12 to 40 Pro lens. I just use it for the live stream because otherwise it would be sitting on the shelf. I mean, it's a great lens, don't get me wrong, but and it had actually it was really good on a photo walk I went on because it has such a close focusing distance where I couldn't use the kit lens. Yeah, video is a different ball game. Constant lighting is preferable. Um, yeah, constant lighting, but all the lighting has to match. Like I said, a lot of times I'm doing office spaces where they don't even get the lighting consistent, because they use those 48-inch fluorescent tubes. And they're always buying the wrong colors. They'll buy warm, they'll buy cool white, and they'll mix them in the same lighting fixture. And then it's a nightmare. And then you got people that like to personalize their little space, so they'll put little lamps that are tungsten on their desk, and then I got to mix that with the fluorescent lighting in the ceiling. Uh, so I'm trying to wait. You got more here. The We Find 500 underwater LED lights. Yeah, yeah, underwater. Yeah, you need a lot of light. I would imagine like 10 times more light than you would when you don't have to light through the water, right? Jeff says he's been using the Ranar 250 with a 300 Pro. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not familiar with Ranar or Raynox. I'm sorry, Raynox. Uh, but it's some kind of macro lens that you attach to your existing lenses. Yes, music. I agree. The extension tubes with that 40 to 150. The kit lens is what I use, not the Pro. Is awesome. And Nature says he used the 60mm macro for portrait photo shoot last week. Oh, good. Yeah, I mean it's. I saw a video by Jimmy Chang that he used the 60 macro for portraits. Um, yeah, it's very versatile. I mean, 60 is a little tight, but it's a very versatile lens. It's not so telephoto that you can't use it at all. The image is 5 millimeters wide. me think. So that's so you're telling me you're filling the frame with a 5mm object? So that's like 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1 macro? That's amazing. I'm just guessing by what you're saying. Image is 5mm wide. I'm assuming you're filling a 17mm wide full thirds, 4/3 sensor with a 5mm object, meaning that's like 3 to 1 magnification. That's pretty amazing. Oh, you could use extension tubes with the Olympus extenders. I guess you could keep stacking things. I don't know if that would cause any problems with lighting inside of that, because now you're talking about extending out your lenses pretty far. And I found that when I stacked extension tubes too much, at least the cheap ones I buy, I start getting lens flare inside the barrel. So, you know, because I buy cheap ones, right? I'm sure more or higher quality extension tubes will have some felt lining or something to minimize that. But, and Roman's asking, what do I think of the new Sony A7S III? I haven't thought about it much. What have I heard about it though? Let me just look at it real quick. So this is the first problem, right? $3,500. 12 megapixel sensor. "4K 120p video, 10-bit 422 internal, hybrid AF, blah blah blah." Ooh, I like this. 9.4 million dot EVF. Wow. And then some stabilization, dual CF Express, ISO 40 to. Okay. Based on this, let's. This is the first problem with me. $3,500, right? I suppose if you're into cinematography, this makes sense, and you're making low-end films, right? You're a cinematographer. In terms of pricing, this is not too bad, right? Because there's cameras that cost like $10,000 and higher, those red cameras. For the average consumer, oh my God, who is this for? I can't even fathom. The other and this is basically a video camera. We can, 4K 120p video, 10-bit 422 internal. Yeah, let me tell you something. Processing this kind of video on a consumer system, unless you have a very high computer system, this is gonna crush. This is just gonna melt your laptop or your desktop computer. You really have to know what you're doing, both in terms of processing and editing video that's in this kind of format, but you also have to have very high-end equipment to do it. So you're looking at another 3,000-4,000 in frickin' desktop gear to process this kind of stuff. So this is why I don't even think about it, right? Because it's just way out of what I would ever need or be able to even handle. Because I was processing my 4K video from this last job, right? And I had to do some lens correction a little bit. I had to do a little noise reduction because I was in, like I talked about before with the lighting. And then I was processing a 4K video and converting it to full HD so they could, use it. And I was processing that, and this is 4K 420 8-bit video. It was a 1 minute 47 second video, and it took 30 minutes to process that, export it. 30 minutes. I was getting like 1 frame per second processing on my laptop, which is, you know, an 8-core, 40 gig of RAM, 3200, you know, like 8-core, 16. I mean, I just bought this laptop and it was struggling with a regular 4K video with very minimal editing. If you were to throw in something like this, 4K 120p 10-bit 422, from what I understand, you're only going to get about 3 minutes of video on 64 gig card. I mean, something ridiculous, right? Like you would buy 120, you know, you could buy 256 gigabit card and you might get 15 minutes of video on that. 250. Oh, so that's my problem with these kinds of cameras, basically. These Sony cameras, because they're expensive. You got to buy lenses. It's got unusable video formats for most people. So anybody that buys this camera, you know, they're really, it's kind of overkill for most consumers. If you're a professional and you have everything, all this makes sense, right? This all works as a professional, and you're ready to drop, you know, $3,500 on a camera, another $10,000 on lenses, and then you got another, you know, thousands of dollars in gear at home or at the office to process this kind of video. And then you probably have a staff and a team, right, of videographers. You got the grip guy, you got the lighting guy, you got your actors. I mean, you're talking about doing maybe commercials for clients, small businesses, right? You're doing commercials and charging $10,000, you know, for a 3-minute, you know, or for a 30-second commercial. I've seen jobs like that, but your budget, half your budget goes to paying for actors, right? And then the staffing, and then the gear, all of it, you know, in that kind of scenario, if you're doing commercials and video promos and corporate videos for small businesses, and you're charging $10,000 for a job, yeah, maybe, but this is not for the average person. So anyhow, that's what I think about that. That's why these kind of cameras are never on my radar, because I just don't do that kind of work, like corporate commercials and videos. And you know, I don't have the skill set or the experience for that. It's just not not in my league. You know, I can make a little 2-minute video, real estate video, walk through a house, but I'm not going to buy a camera like that to do it. All right, let me back up. I just talked about that camera way too long. And hi, Rob. Asan is asking, I would like to know what you think about manual M43 lenses such as the 7 Artisans. I've only heard good things about it. There's a lot of people in the chat room that talk about that lens and they love it. So you know, if you don't have a problem with manually focusing, I would just get it. They're cheap. The 7 Artisan 7.5 millimeter I saw for like $120 or something. I think it's a fisheye lens, but still, I mean, I don't see why not. If you don't mind manually focusing. And Tony says, I've used the same problem, or I used to have the same problem when customers were trying to pick colors and paint. The lighting can make the difference to your perception of colors. Yes. Huge difference. That's one of the challenges I have, is what color is the paint on the walls? You know, like I went to this one job, they had green paint. I was like, come on. But I'll show you something. Heck is my bag? Oh, here it is. This is my real estate bag when I go on jobs. So I have my Godox TT350 and you know, my triggers and everything. And then I have this nice dome. But yeah, the walls being different colors is a big problem. So I'll just show you very quickly. But I mount this like this so that the light bounces off this white card instead of off the wall. So I get nice lighting of one color. Because if I just you know, pop the flash with this on it like this, you know, this is going to bounce off the blue or green walls and then cast this weird white bounce off into the rest of the room. So to keep the colors more accurate, and this is, you know, I just made this myself. Actually, this is from a box of chocolates, this card here. I said, you know, I was eating a box of chocolates and I was like, oh, you know what? This will be really good for bouncing off my flash. And then I just put some Velcro straps, and I'm gonna need that this week again. Anyhow, that's just to elaborate on what Tony was saying about the walls being different colors. And Jeff says he's referring to a 300 millimeter with a Raynox. I'm still a little confused though, what you mean by 5 millimeters. I once tried using Kenko 10 millimeter and 16 millimeter with a Lumix 42.5 knock. Yeah, that's a good lens. You can get super close to the object, although I think the focus bracketing may be essential for, yes. Because yeah, you can't stop down enough on those prime lenses. You know, usually macro lenses, they let you stop down quite a bit, so you can get a little more depth of field, but then you need to use flash so you have more lighting, etc. Craig says, if the rumor is true, I wonder why Fujifilm wants to buy Nikon. But then again, Fuji X-Trend colors with Nikon ergonomics would be amazing. I haven't heard that rumor, but that would be interesting. I can't believe Fuji would have the money to buy Nikon. That would be shocking. Jeff Painter says, had a glitch with my 300 Pro and Raynox 250. The image is 5 millimeters wide. I'm still confused. Oh, Wudang, how are you? I'm going to buy the Sony a7S III. It's exactly what I need for work. High FPS and low light. Wow. Well, you already have the lenses, so you're talking about just the body, right? Because Wudang, you switched over to Sony for low light, you know, video work. And by low light, I mean he's working in a studio with natural lighting most of the time. And you know, Micro Four Thirds wasn't cutting it, right? So he bought Sony gear. But the a7S III, if you're only looking at the lens, but man, I don't know. I guess you're gonna process. So I'm curious, Wu-Tang, what do you use for your processing? Do you shoot in 4K, 422, 10-bit, or do you just shoot like at a lower bit rate, lower color depth? Because if all you care is about less grain, you don't need 422 10-bit, right? You can do it with 8-bit 420. And the Mark Will says, I'm even thinking twice about buying $700 EM10 IV or used Pen F to upgrade my old EPL7. Ooh, you know, those two cameras, I wouldn't call those upgrades to your EPL7. I would get the EM5 Mark II if you want to upgrade the EPL7, because it's going to be very, very similar in terms of everything that's available, but it also adds high-res shot mode, focus stacking, and fully articulating screen. Maybe that's what, yeah, but you're looking at the pen. I would do that. And still have a really good build quality and a decent price. The Pen F, I don't feel like is, I wouldn't call that an upgrade kind of camera. It makes a great second camera, like fun camera. So, but in terms of pure image quality, there's not much difference between an EPL7 and any of the cameras we're talking about. A real upgrade, if you want to talk about upgrades, would be like the EM1 Mark II or the EM1 Mark III, EM5 Mark III. Those would be upgrades. These other cameras, EM10 Mark IV, Pen F, those are not really upgrades. They're really just, they would be good cameras to replace a broken EPL7, but I wouldn't call them upgrades. Yeah, they have more features and all that stuff, but they're not particularly that much better technically than your EPL7. I would say keep the EP, if the EPL7 is working, then get the Pen F. If you want to upgrade, probably the EM5 Mark II would be more of an upgrade than the Pen F. That's a tough call. Pen F and EM, it's a tough call. Pen F is a nice camera though. Okay, so yeah, I was okay. Jeff Painter says the image is 5mm wide, so it's more than 3:1. Yes, that's what I was thinking. You're getting like a 3:1 macro, like we were talking about before. And then Wudang says I shoot at the highest setting currently with the Atomos. Wow, you're like hardcore into video work here. I'll have to watch your videos with a different eye. Wudang has a channel. He does some kung fu or something. But he says I shoot with the Atomos Ninja V at ProRes LT directly to the SSD, so other HDMI streaming live. Yes. Well, if you're shooting, yeah, if you're shooting ProRes directly to an SSD, then most photo editing or video editing software can handle ProRes with minimal processing problems. It probably still takes a long time to export, right? Because you're exporting back to just regular H.264. But yeah, shooting in ProRes directly. So you got, yeah, you're hardcore, man. Let's see, the Sony A7 III is not capable of anything better. Yeah, it's not. It's not very strong on video. For what you're doing, right? It's great for consumers, but Casey at Camera Conspiracies is saying that it's easier to process video from the A7S III than it is from the XT4. I guess it depends on the output. I didn't even look at that. Let's see what the file format. If it's saving as ProRes instead of H.264. Let's see, XAS raw 16-bit. It's not telling me the format, but if it's doing raw 16-bit, then yeah. That means there's no compression. And at that point, because anytime you start compressing video, that's when it starts to kill your computer and melt your CPU down. I have to look into it. I don't know. Like I said, it's not... It really has to do with the file format. So I'm just checking some other... Am I backwards? I feel like my screen is backwards. It's my right hand. Yeah. All right. Sorry. And then Wudang says, yes, I export every day with a Core 990K, 9900K. 1 hour clip is like 2 to 4 hours, depending how much processing is going on. Yeah, try adding some lens correction to it. Because I tried using this wide angle adapter on my DJI thing and it warped the image a little bit. And, you know, I can't have warped lines in my videos, right? Real estate videos in particular. So I had a little lens correction, and man, that took it down from, it was already slow at 10 frames per second down to 1 frame per second processing. But if you can do a 1 hour clip in 2 to 4 hours, man, you're doing good. Only Atomos will make it capable of doing ProRes. Anyway, if you have a studio, if you want to go SSD recording, don't bother with the CF cards for travel. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, what's a 1 hour video take? It probably fills up a terabyte. And Roman says, for me, PenF is much better in handling manual control, shooting in the sun, creative control than the EPL5, although I don't see much difference in image quality. Yeah, the PenF is definitely a very unique camera. I would pick that even, maybe. I keep changing my mind. I'm kind of torn because the EM5 Mark II is such a good camera and it's weather sealed. The PenF is a great camera, has all the same features as the EM5 Mark II, but it's not weather sealed, no mic jack. But it has more features actually than the EM5 Mark II. It's a tough call. A tough call. They're both very good cameras, the PenF and the EM5 Mark II. But I'm curious. Casey says I have to watch the video because the specs here on this camera it's not telling me what it's exporting at. Other than saying it has a raw 16-bit. But yeah, you would need a 512 gig memory card to record that, and then you'd only probably get about 20-30 minutes out of 512 gig. I just can't even imagine. This is, wow, this is what I usually record at, H.264. I mean, this is all our cameras are really capable of anyway. But 420 8-bit H.264 is perfectly fine. And they have, what, 200 megabits? Yeah, that's what I do. I do 4K, Cinema 4K. Well, my DJI doesn't do Cinema 4K. It does regular 4K at 100 megabits or something. So just get both. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't get both. Just pick one. You'll be happy with either one. I shoot. And then Nature, I missed a few comments here. Nature says that the Sony camera is expensive, as are the lenses. I have a friend who has a similar Sony, but problems with focusing and socket external release. She is now going for a D780. And Wudang says, yeah, you need high-end machines. Ryzen 9 to 16 cores. Yeah, I looked at a Ryzen 12 core with an RTX 2080. The 2080. I'm already losing it. The 2080, not the TI, but there's one, the 2080 Super. That's what I'm thinking of, because it's almost as good as the TI. And then I could keep the system under $3,000 with 32 gig and the NVMe and all the other stuff. Okay, good. Well, I need to. Dave is saying the PenF is a feel great taking pictures, while the M5 is I feel the pictures. I'm. The PenF is a Zen thing. Yeah, the PenF, it was my go-to camera for a long time, and I'd have to say, I mean, it wasn't 6 months ago. Somebody asked me what would be the camera if I had one camera, one lens, which one would I take? It'd be the Pen F with the 17 millimeter. Uh, I'm not sure I can say that today. Um, it'd be close though. It's still definitely a camera I'm very happy to own. But I'm really liking the EM1 Mark III camera. Um, that extra stabilization, because I do video, but that extra stabilization that you get, even for handheld photography, is really amazing. The handheld high-res shot, the live ND, those things I really, really like. So it's tough. It's tough. I'd still be torn though. Like if I had to choose one between an EM1 Mark III and a Pen F. And Dave says you like the pen, but you stuck with the EM5. And Moodang says my favorite before was always the Pen F. I guess if Olympus would renew the model with 4K 60p and a new sensor stacked and backlit, they're gonna sell like hot potatoes. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna do it, because 4/3, Micro Four Thirds just has this stigma, right? Even doing stack sensor and BSI, it's not going to improve the low light performance that much. Stack sensor is just about rolling shutter, but the BSI, it's very, very minimal difference between BSI and non-BSI sensors. It wouldn't be enough. It would just be checking a box on a spec sheet, really. Why did Softube be fun? Why did your EM1 Mark III go back to Olympus? Was it defective, or you just didn't want it anymore? I would be shocked. I would be shocked if after using the EM1 Mark III, you didn't want it anymore. Yeah, the Pen F is holding its value, marked Wolf. 900 new and 700 used, definitely. And it is a niche camera. Oh, hey David, how are you? I was bragging on the photo club earlier in the stream. There's another person here local that was in the chat earlier. I gave him a link to the club, so maybe he'll join us one weekend. They were asking if I want to do any photo walks, and I said, well, I just go with the local photo club. Unless you go wide angle, MFT is perfectly fine, and for cinema work, MFT is superior. You rarely want to go lower than f2.8 video. Yeah, that's true. You can definitely get more light with a Micro Four Thirds. Pen F is the M43 version of the Nikon DF. That's a good analogy. That is a good analogy. You always had a grease mark on the nose. Really? Because the Pen F is more off-center, isn't it? Where is my Pen F? That's worrisome. It's usually right here. Oh. I have it in my cabinet now that I use with my Pentax. I gotta stop doing that. I need to go out. It's so nice out today. Yeah, I figured you went on a photo walk this morning because you weren't here. That's nice though. The lighting was beautiful this morning, right? And it just rained, so lots of water. What am I using right now? I'm at 12 millimeters f2.8 on this stream with my 12 to 40 Pro and EM1 Mark II. But I got a ton of lighting here. I also corrected for white balance, and I mean, a lot of people have seen my setup because I do this time to time. But I got this umbrella here, and then I got this light here facing me, and then I got my ceiling fan light, and then over here I got just a bare bulb open, and this is all LED lighting. And I bought the HD, the GE HD lighting. I mean, it's not high-end lighting, right? I paid like $3 or $4 a bulb for the lighting that's in this room, because it's supposed to be a little higher quality than the standard ones you buy in 4-packs. And I think the lighting came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the lighting. You use your left eye. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Am I planning to go away from MFT? I have no plans to move from MFT. I mean, it works fine for what I do. If I get hardcore into video work, I'll have to see if there's another camera format that will solve a problem that I might run into with MFT. But I haven't done, in terms of photography, I haven't found any problem I can't overcome with MFT, you know. In video work, I'm just kind of getting started, and right now I'm not having any issues. Because video work is very different, you know, and a lot of people use MFT for video work, so I don't see any reason to switch to anything else. Oh, you saw a bald eagle chasing an osprey. Yeah, you need a powerful telephoto, that's for sure. Dave says my lighting, video, and background are on the money. Thanks. And Marco says, nice, I've been using my EM1 III for streams with the 17 at f1.6, and I'm a little soft. Oh, really? So you have a 17mm Pro lens? Because, or you're talking about the 17mm f1.8, Marco? Because yeah, the 17 f1.8 wide open is a little bit soft. I can't imagine that would show in video though, because that gets compressed down to 2 megapixels. Some mains LEDs, house lights have flicker. I don't know why. Huh. I don't know. I guess the shutter speed or whatever I'm using is fine. I do get flicker with fluorescent lighting. Oh, that's another freaking problem. Fortunately, our cameras have flicker scan that we can adjust it. Ugh. I had so many problems with that last video. I spent so much time on it, you know, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot in a very relatively short amount of time. Oh, Nature says you bought a GH4 with a 12 to 35. Yeah, that's a nice combination. Oh, so you stop it down to 1.6. I can't believe the Pro is a little soft, wide open. I don't have that lens, the f1.2. I'm a little surprised. I always look so sharp. Thanks. I mean, I could switch over to the kit lens and it would be the same. Here, let me switch over to the kit lens just so you guys see the difference, right? See if I can do this without jacking up the stream. So no fingerprints. I always have fingerprints like right on the rear element. All right, I'm still here. Now the kit lens is going to be a little tighter field of view, right? There. The kit lens. I mean, you probably really can't tell any difference, right? Because like I said, this gets compressed down to 2 megapixels anyway. Uh, now we see if the sensor is clean. I don't know. I didn't notice. Maybe it is or isn't. How did you more tone a bokeh blurred background using MFT? You have to get closer. You know, when you get closer to the subject, right? See how blurry I am? That's because my finger is like, you know, 6 inches from the subject, me, right? And then, so yeah, if you want to get blurry background with MFT, get as close as you can to the subject, use longer focal length, and then put the subject, if you can, right? If it's a person, put them, make sure the background is very, very far away. But at some point, you don't need that much blurriness, right? Or separation. But you could zoom out to, like, I think, you know, the 45mm f1.8, that's more than enough bokeh for most situations. Yeah, Dave says looks pretty much the same to me. Even autofocus is fine, right? And this is the kit lens. See, here's the pro lens that I took off. I just use the pro lens because I get better, you know, this is an f2.8. So I don't have to push the ISO. You know, Marco, that might be your challenge, right? Maybe you don't have enough light. Because you can see how much lighting. These are all 75 watt equivalent LED bulbs. So I'm using 150, 225 plus this thing in front of me. This is just a little desk lamp. That's probably another 40 watt equivalent. So yeah, I'm close to 300 watts in lighting here. Equivalent. What do I use to clean lenses? I just use a microfiber. And John says not as sharp. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark Wolf. I didn't give like a very direct answer to your question because there's so many things you can do to get subject separation, right? Typically what I do if I need subject separation, I use light. I illuminate the subject more and I make the background dark because depth of field is hard to do sometimes. You don't have some options, right, to get closer to the subject or to get a background that's far away. So there's a lot of different ways to deal with subject separation, though. Not as sharp is more cinematic. That's true. I try to Roman, when I find if I have the rear body cap around, I need to buy some more rear body caps. I try to, but what I did is I took the kit lens off my EM10. So what I would normally do is put the pro lens back on to the EM10 so everything is fine. But oh, there's a big old fingerprint on the front of this. Well, anyway. Okay, I need to get started for my next stream. So if you guys like to join me there, I do photo editing, and or you can send your pictures in, we edit them together, have some fun, and then I also put mine out where you can edit my picture and we look at those. So it's just sort of an extension of this stream, just to have some fun in the morning. So thanks everyone for joining today. It's always a lot of fun as always. I appreciate you being here, and we will see you guys on Tuesday morning is my next stream.